Hello, my name is Devin Merkabile, and this is the game I created. It is called Shovel Knight Resurrection, and it is a game themed around the video game Shovel Knight, which is a really good game, by the way. To start off, this game can be played with 4 to 5 players, and it is for ages 10 and up. And as for the game components, we have 4 player pieces right here for the knights, which we'll talk about later. And then we have 2 dice, one for the knights and one for the enemy player, which we'll get to again later. And over here, we have roughly 25 enemy cards. We have 12 to 15. Specifically, we have 12 item cards. We have 21 event cards. We have 30 plus 1 tokens, which we'll talk about later, and 15 plus 5 tokens. As for gold, we have 41 gold, or 40 tokens that are worth 1 gold, and then we have 20 that are worth 5 gold. Let me see if I can find one. Yeah, we have 20 that are worth 5. I cannot find any. There's a lot of coins here. Sorry. the camera works really bad as well. Here we go. Here's a 5 gold. And then there's like 10 gold coins right here. And then over here we have tokens, sorry. We have, I think, the same amount of these as for gold. So there would be 40 minus 1s right here. And then there would be 20 minus 5s. And then over here is the knight cards. So each player who is a knight gets to pick a knight from among 12 options here. And for this demo that I'm gonna do of the game, I'm gonna run through the game as if I was the only player, and then the enemy player, and there will be an enemy player which I will play. So for this, I'm gonna pick Shovel Knight for the game's sake. And these will return over yonder. And as for these things, we have an enemy game tracker, which will be for the enemy player, obviously. Put this over here. And then we have a knight player tracker. So I'm going to take one of these since I am Shovel Knight. And I'm just going to set them like right here. So let me turn this sideways. Does this help? We'll roll with this. So here we go. We have Shovel Knight, and we have the game board. I'm going to grab the dice, and the enemy player will get that dice. And over here, they have the Remnant of Fate. So this leads to basically how to play the game. So to play the game, like your goal of the game, your objective is to defeat the Remnant of Fate for the knight players. Sorry, that was really bad. For the knight players. So I'm going to place this, and you're supposed to play it right here on this space. This board is supposed to replicate the board in the game Shovel Knight. Obviously, it looks crappy, but whatever. And I'm guessing I'm going to start finishing up setting up the game. So I'm going to grab a player piece, and I have to place it on one of these 4 like spaces, I guess we'll call it. So then I'm going to set these aside, and I am going to put the enemies right here with the enemy tracker, and then I'm going to discard that. The items, which are going to be called Chester's Bazaar, which is a character in the game that sells these items. I'm going to set it over here. The event cards will go over here, because why not? Really isn't a specific way the game has to be set up. And we'll just keep the unorganized set of tokens laying over here, because why not? And now we can begin the game. So, in the game, basically what I can do, the knights start first, so I'm going to move my piece. Now, each player gets to move a total of 3 spaces. So, I'm going to move here, here, and here. So, let me move this up a bit. And now, since nothing happened, now what I can do is that I can draw 2 gold at the beginning. Each character is able to get coins at the beginning of their turn. So I'm gonna get 2 gold. So that's what Shovel Knight can get. And over here, I could just put it on this tracker right here. I forgot to get a tracker for gold, but I don't think I need that since there's gonna be a lot. Anyway, now it's the enemy's turn. Now the enemy to start off the game is going to draw 2 enemies from the deck. So over here we have a gold armor. And then over here, we have a propeller rat. Now, what the enemy player does to these is that they will roll their dice right here. And depending on what they land on, they're able to place the enemy on a numbered space. So I'm going to roll. I get a 6. Or the enemy player gets a 6. So they're going to choose. So the first card they drew was a gold armor. So they are going to place the gold armor on a space that has the number 6 on it. So right there, sorry, I'm not really good at the camera stuff. Right here is the 6. So I'm going to place the gold armor right here. I got to figure out a good way of placing the enemies onto the board. But obviously it's a prototype, not going to be perfect. So I'm just going to place this right here. And going to roll again. I get a 1, so the propeller rat goes on a space with 1. You get the point. So we're gonna put it on this corner right here, because why not? It's easy to tell where it's at. So now, essentially, I should have done the enemy stuff at the beginning of the game, and then it would have been my turn, so I would have moved 3 spaces there anyway, so then after I would go, it'd be the next night, and then the night after that, and etc., etc. But just to make this a quick demo, I'm going to skip it all the way to the enemy's turn. The enemy will always go last. So, since it's their turn, they are going to draw an event card. And they got Resurrection, sorry, I cannot speak. This allows them to place another enemy onto the board, and simple as that. So we're going to put this at the bottom, because why not? And we are going to draw it. We get another propeller rat, so then we roll the die, and we get a 5. So I'm going to place it over here. Easy to tell. You got to find a good method, but it's just a prototype. And now it's my turn, so I'm going to move another 3 spaces. So I'm going to decide to fight the gold armor. 3. And now I'm engaged in combat. So basically how combat works is that if you run into an enemy, you cannot run away. You must fight the enemy. Well, actually you can. This is a new rule I added, so you are able to fight the enemy, or you are able to flee. If I chose to flee, I can only move away from the enemy by 1 space. So if I chose to flee, then I'd go maybe up here, or down here, or up here. It can only be 1 space away, and it cannot be past the enemy. So he was on that 6 space, I cannot go to that 3 or that 5. So I'm going to fidget with the pieces again. Really bad at this camera stuff, like I said. So, but anyway, I'm going to decide to fight the gold armor because I'm a man. So on your card, each knight has 2 attacks that they can do, and to attack, you need to roll the knight dice, which is white, as you can see. And depending on what I roll, it is going to show which attack I do. So if I roll, I got a 2. So I am doing the shovel drop, which deals 2 damage and deals 2 more if you roll the same number consecutively. So if I roll another 2, then I'm going to do another 4 damage. Or another 2 damage, sorry. I got a 4. So I'm only doing 2 damage to this gold armor. So they are going to take 2 damage. So I'm going to take the -1s here. And I forgot to put an HP thing on their board. But I'm going to put 2 -1s here just to keep track of their health. Like roughly down here. So yeah. The gold armor is now on -2 HP, which is 6 HP. So now the gold armor attacks. So this happens when the enemy player, like if anyone is in combat. So say if another player was up here fighting the propeller rat, if they're in game, if it's their turn, if it's the knight's turn, sorry, the enemy is going to roll their die. And they're going to get a number, and they're going to attack. So this gives the enemy more playability, gets them to play the game more. So I'm just going to use this 4 for the gold armor, and they missed. So if you roll a number that isn't shown on here, that means that they missed. And so I evade the attack, so I get nothing. Or I get no damage taken. So now I'm just going to fast forward a little bit because this is dragging on a little too long. I'm just going to get a lot of gold. Time passes. Cards are drawn. I get a lot of gold. I wouldn't really get this gold, but why not? This is just for the sake of gameplay. So throughout the game, I'm going to be killing enemies, farming gold from the beginning of the turn. And you might be thinking, oh, what can I use? Well, if you weren't paying attention, we got the item deck here. And to buy an item, I'm going to draw 3 items from the top. It should be shuffled, by the way. And we got Omate armor, the shadow mirror, and the leech liquid. So each of these items have a different amount of gold to buy them, and they each do different things. So the Omate armor, it will give the player double gold, which is really good. And the shadow mirror gives the player an additional space to hit their attacks. I'm going to ignore this because recently I got rid of there used to be range in this game, but I don't think it's going to work out. So I'm going to draw another card. That one's garbage. We get the flare, I thought this was a flare wand. We got the ward robe. It is now, so now you are immune to being pushed back by an enemy. So there are certain enemies that are able to push you back a space, which could be annoying if you're trying to defeat the remnant over here. So that basically avoids that. And we got the leech liquid, which heals 1 HP every time you attack. So that's pretty decent. I should probably buff that to 2, but whatever. So I'm going to buy the wardrobe because it's the cheapest, and I'm feeling cheap today. So I'm going to throw that into the coin into the discard pile. And I'm going to put these 2 back in the bottom of the deck. So it's kind of like solitaire in a sense. You pick one card and you put the rest on the bottom right here. And then I can only buy that one item, obviously. And then when the next player, if the next player wants to buy an item, all they have to do is just draw the top 3, and then they get to pick an item from there. Now, from there, all that I basically have to talk about is the end game. And for the end game, the knights essentially, their goal is to beat the remnant over here. She's causing chaos, and she needs to be stopped. So your goal, you as the knight, and the other player's goal is to defeat her. Now, the enemy player, their goal is to defeat all of the knights on the board. And to do so, they have to knock them out. So if I were fighting this gold armor, and I kept missing my attacks, and the gold armor kept landing theirs, I would be knocked off from the board for 3 turns. Now, if everyone else gets knocked off the board, then the game ends and the Remnant wins. However, if we, the Knights, or in this case, I, kill the Remnant, then I win the game. So I believe that is Shovel Knight Resurrection. Thank you for tuning in, and peace.